played in this championship game back in 2017. Welcome back. And on the sideline now for the Stadium, come on onto the field, defending champions, 7-time WWCFL champions, head coach Calgary, the Saskatoon Valkyries. Field, the representative of football Saskatchewan, to make a special presentation. The special presentation is being made today to Valkyries head coach Pat Barry. He played on the U.S. Huskies, the Saskatoon Valkryies between 1980 and 1992, winning a national championship with the Valkryies in 91. Years at 5 different high schools in Saskatoon, spending most time at Mount Royal Collegiate. He's also coached for many years in the Kinsman Football League in Saskatoon and several Saskatoon minor football league teams in numerous games. Six Nations Challenge and the Blue Senior National Championship in Saskatchewan won the gold medal in 2016. He's presently the head coach of Everhard Collegiate in Saskatoon and the head coach of the Saskatoon Valkyries in the WWCFL. He's been with the Valkyries since 2014, when Jeff Young invited him to coach on the Valkyries, and eventually became the head coach in 2017. In the summer of 2022, he was on staff of Women's Team Canada and many other great coaches from Saskatchewan, who traveled to Finland for the World Championship. So let's congratulate him on a great career to this time. And now we welcome cover panelists to sing our national anthem. Please rise and remove your headgear if possible.
A spectacular Saturday afternoon, perfect setting for the 2023 Western Women's Canadian Football League Championship. You couldn't have asked for a better day for some football, and we are excited to bring it to you today. It is the Saskatoon Valkyries and the Calgary Rage playing for the 2023 championship, and welcome to Saskatoon and to Griffiths Stadium. I'm Ryan Flaherty, and I am pleased to be joined on this stream today by WWCFL President and Valkyries legend Jamie Lammerding, 7-time WWCFL champion, 2-time Team Canada member, I believe, or is it 3, Jamie?
No, I didn't make the last one, unfortunately, and I wasn't around for the first one.
Okay,
so just 2.
So 2. I got it right on the first try. Great to have you alongside, Jamie, and we're excited about this game today. First ever meeting between the Valkyries and the Rage in the championship game.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. The Rage and the Valkyries met earlier this season for a preseason game, and they both, I think, gone through a bunch of growth in the regular season and through playoffs here, so it'll be exciting to see what both teams bring to the field today.
Yeah, it is the Rage's second trip to the final. They appeared in 2017, and that was one of the few years where your Valkyries did not get there, but it was the Regina Riot, your arch rivals, who won that game in a lopsided score, 53-0. So the Rage making their second straight trip, but still seeking some firsts, first points, first touchdown, all that sort of thing. But I know they're excited to be here. Head coach Keith Crawford and company making the trip out to Saskatoon. And yes, you mentioned they met in the preseason. It was a 50-2 victory for the Valkyries, but we always be wary about taking too much out of a preseason game. I know speaking with Valkyries head coach Pat Barry, there was some players held out of the lineup on both sides in that game, and so hard to read into that. Before we get too much into this, I do want to make sure that we are acknowledging we're on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and Métis nations. We pay our respect to the First Nations and Métis ancestors. The Saskatoon Valkyries acknowledge the actions and effects the residential schools had and continue to have, and show remembrance for those that have been found and will continue to be found. The work of the Saskatoon Valkyries is intended to empower women through sport, or rather through the sport we love, and the Valkyries are working to ensure that this empowerment is extended to the Indigenous women living here today and in the future. It's like Christmas for football fans, and it looks like Christmas out on the field as well. Jamie, gotta love those new Valkyrie uniforms this season. Those really pop, those beautiful green and white unis, and of course the Rage in the traditional Calgary colors of red and black and white. And we're lining up for the opening kickoff. It will be the Rage who will kick to the Valkyries to start things off. Jolene Goulard lining up the kick. One of the longtime veterans on this Calgary team. And I love this Calgary. I asked them for some biographical information, and it looks like they passed around the sheet on the bus on the trip here to Saskatoon and got some good entries. Some of them I'm not sure about the truth behind some of this info, so you're going to have to take some of it with a grain of salt. But Goulard, in her 12th year with the Rage, kicks it off, and we are underway here from Griffiths Stadium. The return just up over the 40. And that is where the Valkyries will scrimmage on the opening possession from their own, about 41.5-yard line, or right about the 41 to start it off.
Like Ricky Obed picked up the kickoff there and ran it around the side. She's been with the Valkyries for quite a few years now and made her debut with Team Canada last summer when they went to Finland. A number of Team Canada girls on both sides of the ball today.
And Ricky certainly one of the top receivers on this team, and especially with the absence of Haley Girolami, who's out with an injury, suffered earlier this season. 1st and 10 from their own 41. The starting quarterback Alex Elfson with the handoff. It's taken right up the middle, a little off right tackle for a gain of about 5, maybe 5.5 yards. This spotted just shy of the 41, so call it 5, and a 2nd and 5 upcoming. Valkyries got here by virtue of a defensive win over the Regina Riot last weekend, 19-9 in the Prairie Conference Final. Elfson in the shotgun. Calls out the signals. She's looking to the flat on the left side. That play read very well by the Rage defense as they shut down Ricky Obed, who took that pass in the flat there, and she got stopped for a loss. So good start for the Rage defense as they're going to force a 2-and-out. Grace McCorriston handling the punting duties for the Valkyries. She's become the full-time punter this season. line drive kick, got a flag down on the snap as the Rage able to get on top of that. Veronica Akowski recovering the kick, just shy of the Calgary 45, and we'll get the signal here. I wonder if that might have been a too many call based on where those flags were thrown.
Looks like they're looking to move the Rage up, maybe.
So good field position here for Calgary to start off. After the stop, well, it's going to be a
re-kick, it looks like.
They're going to redo it, yeah. So it was a too many players call against the Rage. That actually
does it give the Valkyries
put the offense back out on the field. Yeah, I think that's going to, because it's a 10-yard penalty, and that's going to be enough to get the first down yardage. So a miscue there by the Rage, sending too many players out on the field for that punt situation, Dinger.
Yeah, there can just be some pregame jitters sometimes when you get into these big games, and just, people are eager to get on the field, and sometimes people get on the field a little bit too early than they're supposed to, but the Rage had a good series defensively last time, so hopefully they'll be able to do the same thing here and shut the Valkyries down again.
So 1st and 10 at the Saskatoon 52. 5 receiver set. Elfson going to throw over the middle, and that's off the outstretched hands of the intended receiver, Reed Thorstad. Got her right hand out there, but the ball just overthrown a little bit. Bring up a 2nd and 10.
Reed Thorstad playing receiver for the Valkyries, but the last Team Canada, she was quarterback, was actually MVP of the tryout camp they had in Ottawa heading into it.
She's a versatile player, and I know how much she loves being on this team. She's one of the vets, long-time members of this team since, I believe, 2014 she's been a Valkyrie. So 2nd and 10 now for Saskatoon. Elfson looking to pass once again, and again, well covered that time. Good play on the ball there by Veronica Akowski, who broke up that pass. The Pincher Creek, Alberta native. So once again, the Rage get a stop. This time, though, I'm sure there's a couple extra people on that sideline counting heads.
Yeah. Oh, somebody's running off last minute. Looks like everything's good this time so far.
McCorriston directing that punt towards the far sideline. Gets a good bounce, too, between the returners, and Rage have to chase it all the way back down, and good coverage by the Valkyries. So a big change in field position there, despite the fact Saskatoon wasn't able to make a lot of progress on offense. The penalty ended up costing the Rage about 35 yards of field position, and they're going to start it out on their own 15. So we'll get the first look at Calgary's offense. As they break the huddle. And a quarterback option running to the right here is Morgan Lindstein. And she is taken down after a gain, good gain on first down, about 8 yards on the first offensive play of the game for Calgary. So Morgan Lindstein.
It's always good to have a quarterback who can be versatile and make things happen in the air and on the ground. It puts the defense on edge a little bit, and you're never quite sure what's going to happen.
And from what I've been told, this Calgary team very much a run-heavy offense. So see some options this time on the pitch from Lindstein, but that is well covered by the Valks defense as they get into the backfield. A little triple team action on the ball carrier for Calgary. That I'll have to double check my, that's Kendra Nash who on the carry there, but she was hit for a loss, and that's going to send the Rage into a punting situation.
Looks like we got a Valkyries player down there. I can't quite make out the number.
Looks like it's Danae Holinsky down on one knee on the turf. Defensive end for Saskatoon. So she's being attended to, and Do want to mention, here in the first quarter, some thanks to the Valkyries 2023 game day sponsor, Sask Lotteries. When you buy a lottery ticket, your money goes a really long way in Saskatchewan. Lotto Max, Lotto 649, and other lottery products fund more than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups. When you support Sask Lotteries, everyone wins. So Holinsky hobbling off the field. That's not a good sign for the Valkyries defense, as she's been a real key piece of that defensive line this season, and certainly not putting a ton of weight on the one leg right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on her and see if she will be able to get back in this game. Meanwhile, Calgary lining up the punt. Jolene Goulard is the punter. Tough snap for Goulard to handle, and she does what you're taught to do there, just fall on the ball, at least keep it out of the end zone, but a turnover now on downs on the bad snap is going to set up the Valkyries with a first and goal situation here, a glorious chance to get the opening points.
Yeah, tough snap there, and then the WWCFL plays by amateur rules for a lot of them, so once a player is on the ball and their knee is down, so diving on a ball or anything like that, they don't have the opportunity to get back up. So in some leagues, I know you can kind of be on your knee a little bit and pick up the ball, but not with us in the WWCFL.
Safety first. That's just like we see in the Canadian Junior Football League as well. So first and goal from the 3-yard line. Elfson with the pitch to the left side, and it's a touchdown, Valkyries. Sarah Wright taking it into the end zone. A one-play, 3-yard drive for the Valks, and they are off to the opening lead, less than 4 minutes into the opening quarter. Well, the Valkyries offense on their first sequence couldn't get a first down, but thanks to the tough snap by Calgary's punt team, they get a great position and they punch it in for 6. Corriston looking to add the extra point. And she puts it through, and that gives us a score of 7-0 in favor of the Valkyries. 11-10 remaining. I think this scoreboard is very tough to read in hard sunlight here at Griffiths Stadium. So when I tell you the time left, please know that is my best guess based on the light bulbs that are working over there on that scoreboard.
I was just talking before the game with some of the coaches on the sideline, and that board has been around here a long, long time.
Yeah, it's not going to be here much longer, though, from what I understand. I think there's some plans in the works to get a new one.
Yeah, they just replaced the turf here. Was it last year they replaced the turf?
During the pandemic,
During the
so
pandemic.
prior to the 2021 or 2022 season, yeah, they have brand new turf in here. There used to be, of course, a track that ran around the field as well. That was removed. It was aging not great.
Yeah. The Valkyries used to play here at Griffiths Stadium before we moved over to SMF and made that our home, but when they were taking out the old turf here, they decided to start selling off squares of it, so I have a 2-foot by 2-foot square of the old Griffiths Stadium turf sitting at home in my closet.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, do you hang that on a wall? Do you put it in a display case? What do you
decided just
do
yet.
with turf?
It's still sitting in its bag that it was delivered to me in, so I don't even know what section of turf I have.
Hopefully it has a little bit of a yard line marker or a hash mark on something. So kickoff to the Rage, and we got a good return here going to the far sideline. Chasing it all the way down to the Valkyries' side of the field. A real solid return there for Calgary. Trying to catch the number on that returner. Don't have it there, so apologies for that, but a really good return. Well blocked by the Rage. And they will be set up here at the Saskatoon 51 for their second offensive series.
Special teams can make the difference, and a lot of times in Canadian football, and you saw it with the Valkyries there, they were able to score off a bad snap, and the Rage here sets themselves up in a good field position with the kickoff here.
So 1st and 10 for the Rage. Lindstein had trouble with this shotgun snap, able to get it back though and get the ball flung out of bounds. A good heads-up play there by the QB to avoid a loss of yardage on that play. Morgan Lindstein from Calgary, and according to her bio, gluten-free hot dog eating champion in Ponoka, Alberta. I don't know how much prestige that title comes with, but I am not any sort of hot dog eating champion, so She's got one over me there.
Me too. I like hot dogs, but I don't know if I'd like eating them all in a minute. Oh.
Got a whistle on the snap, a flag in the Calgary backfield. Looked like some early movement. And it is going to be an illegal procedure call against the Rage, so that's going to move them back 5 yards. Set up a 2nd and long. I'll push this ball back to their own side of midfield. Happy to have you with us wherever you may be watching from. I know there were some Calgary fans back home that were excited to find out they had an opportunity to watch today's game.
I think we've even got some people watching down in Australia today.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Lindstein with a run here to the right as she scampers out of bounds. A big first down run there for Morgan Lindstein. Big chunk of yardage as she gets it all the way down to the Saskatoon 25-yard line. That is a pickup of 30. Oh, we're going to spot. Where are they going to spot this? Pardon me, at the 32. So a pickup of 24 yards there for Lindstein. And the first down of the game for Calgary as they approach the red zone. Now just a few yards outside it.
Able to get around the edge there. That might be a case for why Danae, the Rage taking. Oh.
Another tough snap. This time Lindstein will fall on it. But as I think you were going to say, Dinger, they're losing Holinsky.
Yeah.
The Rage may look to attack that side of the D line.
Yeah, it looks like the Valkyries have adjusted to try to come into a 50 front. I think they usually favor a 43 front with 4 linemen and 3 linebackers, but it looks like they brought an extra player up to the front this time to try and help with that edge.
Indeed, we've got.
I see Sydney Shen, I think,
Looks like
on
Sydney
this side.
Shen out there now, playing that left end spot. Another high snap. Lindstein
looking for a screen, I think, but
looking for an escape hatch here. Lindstein, look about throwing, and now she's going to take the sack way back at the 48-yard line.
Speaking of Sydney Shen.
And there is Sydney Shen right on cue with the QB takedown. I had to double check my depth chart here because didn't have Sydney listed as the backup, but I was looking at the wrong side of my depth chart. She's also, as you mentioned, she's listed as a linebacker, but now stepping up into that defensive end spot and makes the play there to force the Rage into a punting situation.
Sydney, one of those players that has played for a couple teams in the WWCFL. I believe she got her start playing with the Riots and then started going to school here, I think, so started playing with the Valkyries.
And for those out in Alberta who may not be fully aware, that is one of the best rivalries in the province, not just in football, I think, in all sport here in Saskatchewan. As there's the punt off the back of one of the cover team, but recovered there by the Valkyries and returned to about the 31-yard line where they will scrimmage here with a 7-0 lead midway through the first quarter.
26, I think that's Jamin Mantika. She's making her rookie. This is her rookie year with the Valkyries. Got brought out by some friends that she's got on the team already.
It has been a bit of a transition. This is a bit of a transition year for the team in terms of some of the turnover, the roster turnover, eh?
Flag coming out there last second. Oh, no yards against the Rage, unfortunately.
No yards. So they're going to march this up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No,
you there.
that's okay. I appreciate that, Dinger. That's why we are a team here, and you spotted the call, so we want to make sure folks are informed. That is a 15-yard penalty, so they're going to scrimmage on the 45 are the Valks. But as I was saying, yeah, a bit of a transition season in terms of just the number of turnover. Your first year post retirement, I guess.
Yeah.
And how's the transition been for you?
It's been pretty good. I'm still getting out. I'm still on the Valks board and trying to make it to all the games or following along on Twitter when I can't make it there. And I mean, I've always said that whether I'm playing or not, I'll be part of the Valkyries for life. So this starts the rest of the life now.
Sarah Wright with a big run. Biggest offensive play of the game so far for the Valkyries. In fact, that's their first down. They scored the touchdown on a goal-to-go situation after a turnover. So all the way up to the Calgary 41-yard line. A gain of 24 yards for Wright, who has the touchdown. 1st and 10 now for Saskatoon. Halefson with Wright in the eye. Halefson looking to pass. Sends it out to the right, flat, just out of the reach for Ricky Obed, who was pretty open out there and had some daylight if she could have hauled that in. It'll be incomplete and a 2nd and 10 upcoming. Ailson calls out the signals. It's a handoff to right, going left side, trying to spin out of a tackle, but a good takedown there by Lisa Gomez of the Rage. Stopped short of first down yardage.
Lisa, another Team Canada player playing in this game today. She played last year when they went to Finland, and as well in 2017 when they were here in Langley, actually, and just over in BC.
So the Valkyries are going to keep the offense on the field here. 3rd and about 4 yards to go from the Calgary 34. Elson once again with the give to right. She's got the blocks on the edge, and she will pick up the first down to the Calgary 25. As Sarah Wright, who has certainly emerged as the feature back this season for the Valkyries, 157 yards a couple of weeks ago against the Manitoba Fearless, and she had a big game as well last weekend in the Prairie Conference Final against Regina. So a first down now for the Valkyries. Elson passing out to the left side, caught there by Grace McCorriston, who breaks one tackle but taken down by Amira Harb. The youngest player in this game, just 16 years old, Amira Harb, also a member of Team Alberta's U18 squad that are going to nationals later this summer in, I believe, Ottawa.
Yes. Yeah, Saskatchewan, Alberta will have a team, and I believe I saw Maritimes has a team this year. And Quebec, I think I just saw something about on social media the other day, is also bringing a team this year. So it's exciting to see the growth of women's and girls football across the country here.
McCorriston gaining 8 on that play, so a 2nd and 2 now as Wright lost her footing trying to cut back to the inside, and she's going to be taken down for a loss. Loss of about 3 yards on the play, brings up a 3rd and 5.
Like the Valkyries are going for the field goal here.
Yep, field goal team coming on the field. And McCorriston has been the place kicker this season, so she will line up what will be about a 32-yard field, or pardon me, a 27-yard field goal try for the Valkyries. McCorriston, a former soccer player, so a natural fit for the place kicker position. She handles the field goals, although it is down, up, and blocked. That field goal is blocked. What a push by the Rage. And an injured player, though, Goulard, who may have gotten the block, signaling for the trainer immediately. And I don't know if she blocked that in a tough spot or something there, but she is down immediately. So
sometimes I've been in there blocking these kicks before, and these kickers have powerful legs, and sometimes you just get it in the wrong spots and it can hurt a whole bunch, or if you get just a finger on it oddly, sometimes you can dislocate.
Goulard.
But that can be a big play for the game, blocking kicks. Any time you can keep points off the board, even if they're point afters, it can be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That one takes potential 3 points off the board, and Goulard now to a knee. 12th year with the Rage, Jolene Goulard. And it says here, 2nd-generation monster truck mechanic. So loving the little tidbits that the Rage provided us for this game. Goulard certainly just in, doing some background on this team coming into today, one of those sort of heart and soul players on this Calgary team.
Yeah, the Rage have a number of long-serving players on their team. I know Goulard, there's Erin Walton, who's been around for a long, long time. She was one of the on the original Team Canada way back in 2011, which kind of led to the start of the Valkyries, was that 2011 Team Canada year. So yeah, they've got a lot of key players helping move things and keep things going, and I guess providing inspiration and drive to these younger players as they come through the system.
And it looks like Goulard walking off, so hopefully that means she'll be okay to continue. It may have just been winded there by either the foot or the ball. It is football, so one of those two things. But a good block there keeps the score at 7-0, and the Rage offense with 3 backs behind the quarterback. And there is a good push by the front of that Valkyries defense with the tackle in the backfield. Leading the tacklers there, Emery Halbgewachs.
Yeah, Emery started playing with the Valkyries last year, but unfortunately got a knee injury pretty early in, so wasn't able to really finish the season. So I know she was looking forward to getting back out here this year, and is obviously playing a key role today. She's got a sack, I think, already, and a tackle now.
Another triple back set, this time a handoff and a run up the middle. Does make some progress of about 3-4 yards. But that is tough slogging against this Valkyries defense, and that will bring the Calgary punt team back onto the field.
And I don't think Goulard can come on for the punt here because he has to sit off 3 plays after being injured. So I will probably see a new punter here from the Rage. I'm not sure who that would be.
Yeah, right you are, Dinger. I'll have to get my trusty binoculars out here. That's one thing. We are a little bit of ways from the field in our broadcast booth, but no complaints. It's a great setting for this game here at Griffiths Stadium. And it looks like it'll be Erin Walton, who's been basically the glue. She's done a little bit of everything for this Rage team over the course of her career.
Yes, she has.
Long-time quarterback. She gets off the boot high up in the air, but it went sideways. Recovered by the Valkyries. There are some blockers down the sideline. This could go. The tackle.
And I think that's
just
Erin making the tackle at the end, too.
At the 5-yard line. A touchdown saving tackle there on, I believe it was Reed Thorstad who picked up that punt.
Speaking of Erin doing everything, there she goes making the touchdown saving tackle as well.
So for the second time here today, the Valkyries are going to start an offensive series inside the Calgary 10. Tough sequence there for Calgary with their number 1 punter temporarily, we think, on the sidelines, but no doubt that Walton's had a lot of reps back there this season. So Elfson now at the Calgary 5, 1st and goal to go. Looking to her left, now running to her right. Being chased towards the sideline. She makes a beeline for the pylon, and she'll step out of bounds around the 2. That's what you want to do as a quarterback in that situation. You definitely don't want to lose yardage there, right?
No, you definitely want to try and get as closest to that pylon as you can. I've seen some diving touchdowns and things where people try and get it on the inside, but I think the coaching staff of the Valkyries is probably telling Alex to just kind of be careful and play it safe. Keep control of the ball and get another chance here.
Right, the lone setback. 3 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. The pitch is to right. There's room to the right side, and Wright takes it in for the 2nd time today. Touchdown, Valkyries. Sarah Wright has a pair. 1 to the left, and now 1 to the right. And again, that quick change of the field position benefiting Saskatoon here in the first quarter. Once on a turnover and then once on a bad punt. Kind of shanked off the side of the foot, and so McCorston a chance to split the uprights to make it a 14-0 lead. It's down, up, and through. And make the score Saskatoon 14 and Calgary nothing with about 2:42 to play here in the opening quarter. And a rare, not unheard of, but both teams coming into this game today undefeated this season as well. You don't always see that, Dinger.
No. The Rage had a bit of a tough season this year. They had a game canceled, unfortunately, because of smoke in Edmonton earlier on the May long weekend, and then unfortunately had a forfeit from Edmonton in the Western Conference Final, but won their other 3 games, 2 against Lethbridge and 1 against Edmonton. And then the Valkyries here went straight from their first preseason game against the Rage all the way through regular season and playoffs and won every game. So.
And as I've been made aware by our good friend Darren Stanky, who does a great job covering this Valkyries team, the Saskatoon Valkyries going for their 27th consecutive win today, dating back to the 2018 championship game. That was the last loss for this team, as a good bit of downfield coverage on that kickoff is going to have the Rage setting up inside their own 25 to start this possession.
Yeah, the Valkyries have been pretty fortunate over the years to be able to keep adding to the win column and not picking up any losses. The other teams have been trying. The Riot got pretty close last year with, or not last year, sorry, last week with the 19-9 just win over them, but they started coming back in the fourth quarter and made me a little shaky in my boots standing in the stands watching.
Lindstein with the last couple of instructions to the receiver to her right, but she's got a convoy to the left, and the option play pitch out to the left side, trying to string it out there, but taken down for a short gain. Looked like that was Kendra Mann.
Kennedy Man?
Kennedy Mann, pardon me, on the carry there.
Oh, no, sorry, Kendra Nash maybe
Kendra
on the carry.
Nash.
Kennedy Man on the
That's right,
on the
Kendra Nash.
defensive side.
23 in red. I mistook her 3 for an 8, and I was scouring. There is no 28 on the on the Calgary roster, so
we'll forgive you this once.
that's right. Second down here for Calgary. 9 yards needed. Run off the left side. Short gain once again. Just 3 yards, maybe 2.5 on the play. That brings up third down. And another punt situation. Calgary did have that chance as they had the ball down around the Saskatoon 30 earlier in this quarter, but then took a big loss on the next play. And since then, the offense has had some trouble gaining traction.
Looks like we've got our regular punter back here.
So Goulard back out there. Good to see. Good news for Calgary. Good snap and a good kick by Goulard. Fielded by Reed Thorstad at the 50. Not a lot of room as she dances around. Able to take it up, though, for about 5-6 yards. Flag down. This will likely be a no yards penalty, one would gather.
I would assume so. Sometimes you're never 100% sure.
That's true. That halo can be deceiving from up here in the
Yeah.
booth and the presence thereof or lack thereof. I think this will be.
Looks like it's coming against the Valkyries.
So it is a
legal
hold.
blocker hold.
So that'll march Saskatoon back to their own side of half, just on their own side at the 54, where they will scrimmage 1st and 10 in the final minute of this opening quarter. Saskatoon Valkyries would like to thank the following First Down sponsorship partner for their contribution to the team in this season, Kinsman Club of Saskatoon. 1st and 10, Valkyries. Elfson with a quick pass over the middle. That is caught. But a tackle immediately made on the play by Amira Harb. Gain of about 4 yards, maybe make it 5 on the play. So a 2nd and 5 for Saskatoon. This Calgary defense is certainly making the Valkyries work for their yardage here, if not for the 2 short fields. So we might be talking about a scoreless game here.
Yeah, the special teams is seeming to make really the difference in the field position right now.
Elfson back to pass. Looking left, and that is nearly intercepted. Veronica Akowski has already made a couple plays in that defensive backfield with the breakup there. And that's going to send the Valkyries punt team back onto the field with a 3rd and 5 coming up here at the Calgary 51.
In and out of your hands, and sometimes, you wonder if it's the right decision just to knock it down, or sometimes it's a blessing not to pick it up, because then you're starting from back here a bit, but I think the Valkyries will be looking to put them hopefully a little bit deeper, but hopefully the Rage will get their first really good return here of the game.
McCorriston back to punt. Good snap. And McCorriston trying to aim that towards the far sideline. It's off the hands of the returner. A loose ball and scooped up alertly there. Good job by Calgary to stay on that ball. Zakowski, who just made the play defensively, saves the Rage bacon on special teams there, as that was a live ball.
Yeah, MRA Dale just running down to pick it up. MRA has been playing with the Valkyries for a number of years now. I'm sorry, I can't remember how long some of these people have been playing. When you play with them for so long, they just all kind of blend together. But MRA, some people might be familiar with her. She was the first woman to play in the Canadian Junior Football League. She played with the Hilltops a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was obviously, for very good reason, a very widely shared story. A lot of people caught onto that one, and it doesn't help when the person is such a great person. Like Emma Reyes is just a fantastic person to talk to, too. A great ambassador and almost an ideal candidate to be that pioneer, right? To break that barrier. And recorded 8 tackles in 4 games for the Hilltops in 2021. Only had the 1 year of eligibility by the time she did it, but what a great accomplishment for her, and now she's the real heartbeat of that defense. So, second quarter as we switch ends, and the Rage scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. 14-0, Valkyries lead it here on Championship Saturday in Saskatoon. Lindstein rolling to her left, launching it downfield. That's a gimme ball. It's taken away, intercepted by the Valkyries. Michaela Sater with the pick, and she returns it down to the Calgary 39. It was a 50-50 ball from Lindstein, and Sater comes down with the interception.
Looks like we got a Rage player down, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that's who Michaela collided with as she was fighting for the ball there. Both players potentially in a bit of an awkward situation, looking up for the ball and not expecting right at that moment to get hit.
Maggie Rasteka, the injured Calgary Rage player. Causeway Natural Health in Humboldt, Saskatchewan is a proud 2023 MVP sponsor. Causeway is your one-stop shop for healthy foods, supplements, and body products. Check them out at www.causewaynaturalhealth.ca or visit them at 816 6th Street in Humboldt. Andy and the team will be happy to help you start your path to wellness. So, this, at least for the Rage, after the change of possession, will give their defense a chance to gather their thoughts, as now Rasteka up on her own steam and walking towards the Calgary sideline. A Lloydminster native, 4th year with the Rage.
Lloydminster, Alberta, or Lloydminster, Saskatchewan?
Well, she wrote Alberta on here, and she's playing for Calgary, so I guess we know where her loyalties lie. That's the battleground for recruits in so many sports. And it's usually between Edmonton and Saskatoon, not so much Calgary and Saskatoon, but that's Medicine Hat is usually Regina gets in the mix there too. So Valkyries set up 1st and 10 from the Calgary 38-yard line. 3 receivers left, 2 to the right. And the handoff into the backfield is Drew Lundquist, and fighting hard, but a good wave of Rage tacklers there to bring her down for little to no gain on that 1st down run.
Yeah, sometimes all it takes is that first person to break through the line and just hold someone up, and then the rest of the team gets there to help them up, or to help make the tackle, and that's exactly what the Rage did here. I missed the number of who got through initially, but they put up the stop, and the rest of the defense came through.
Rally to the ball, right? That's the
rule.
That's the rule. No matter where it is, everyone run to the ball.
Pursue.
I've never played organized football, but I've attended enough practices to know that.
Every defensive coach's favorite word, pursue.
So 2nd and 9, call it. And there's a completion over the middle, and the C's part. It's a touchdown, Valkyries. Ricky Obed taking it in from 37 yards out. A perfect connection from Ailson to Obed. And the Valks have their 3rd major of the afternoon. Perfect touch on that pass from Elfson, catching Obed in stride as they found a seam there.
Yeah, both of those players, Alex and Ricky, have been playing Valkyries for a long time, so a long time to kind of develop that chemistry and just know Alex knows where she's got to put the ball and Ricky knows where she's got to be to help Alex out.
Convert down, up and through. Make the score Saskatoon 21 and Calgary nothing with just under 14 minutes left in the opening half. And so good start here for Saskatoon, despite the fact that was really the best play we've seen from them in offense here so far today. They haven't gained a ton of yardage so far through the opening quarter and a bit, but again, we talked about those first 2 touchdowns coming on after special teams miscues by the Rage. So that has to give the Valkyries offense a little bit of a better feeling as they break through for a good big play there, their first one of the day.
Yeah, getting the ball to a couple different people. Even though Drew didn't get too far, she got a couple yards on the play, so that gives Sarah Wright a break, so she can come out on the next series maybe and help out, and then passing the ball over the middle to Ricky.
So we'll see what kind of an answer the Rage will have coming up here. Kickoff gets by the first returner, Bailey Kennedy. She has to chase it back now. Picks it up. Swarmed by the Valkyries cover team led by Emma Dale. As she takes down Kennedy inside the Calgary 20. They are going to spot the ball at about the 19-yard line here, 1st and 10 Rage. Bailey Kennedy, another longtime vet, but fairly new to the Rage. Played with Edmonton last season. She's from Sylvan Lake, Alberta, which is about halfway between Calgary and Edmonton, for those who don't know, aren't up on their Alberta geographies.
I did not know that, so thank you for that tidbit.
Just west of Red Deer. So Lindstein is going to keep it here, running to her left. She's got some blockers that way, now cutting back inside, and a hook slide right around the first down marker. Depend on the spot here, but they've already signaled first down. And a good play on first down there by the Calgary QB, and well read too to make that cut at the right time.
And good setup by the blocking for the Rage. They were able to make a path for her all the way, for 10 yards, and that helps move the 6. Helps keep the defense on for the Valkyries and maybe tire them out a little bit more and give the Rage offense the Rage defense a bit of a break.
Again, they favor this 3-backs set. And this time it's going to be a toss play out to the right side.
Oh, looks.
And another first down for Calgary on the play, on the carry there by Kendra Nash. Back-to-back first downs, one to the left and now to the right as I was going to call it the student body left, student body right. The old throwback play there. Not quite a big enough convoy, I think, of O-line to call it that, but still a good blocking setup there once again, and it's first down from the 42 now. Lindstein looking to get out to her left, but in pursuit, a trio of Valkyries are going to take her down for a loss, and the play finished off there by Danielle Girolami. But there was help coming as well from Emma Ray Dale and Michaela Applin in pursuit. And it's a loss of about 5 yards on the play. And that's one thing, Dinger, I'm sure that if the Rage aren't able to show a capacity to gain yardage in through the air, the Valkyries are going to start to key on these run plays.
Yeah. The Rage have a number of threats out there. It looks like we're all getting some solid yards, but just nobody able quite to break through. So as you say on defense, sometimes you bend, but you don't want to break.
2nd and 15, the handoff up the gut, but quickly closed down. Only a couple of yards on that play for Reagan Smith. And once again, Calgary will be forced to punt. Drive started off with a couple of first downs, but quickly runs out of steam at the 38, so about A yard gained on that play will bring up a 3rd and 14.
Oh, yes, and I'm sorry, I was just looking at my Team Canada roster from 2022 because I was pretty sure Kendra was on it, but I couldn't remember for sure. So I wanted to double check before I said anything. But yeah, she was with the team when they went to Finland last year.
She was, I believe, one of 3 Calgary players on that team, if my math is correct, as Goulard gets a good kick away. Thorstad fields it just inside her 50, and she'll be forced out of bounds just across midfield at about the Calgary 53. So another good starting field position here for Saskatoon.
It's about 27 degrees. I was just checking the temperature too in Saskatoon today, so that means it's probably about 37 or 40 degrees on that turf there.
To quote the famous philosopher Rob Thomas, man, it's a hot one. Fortunately for us here, though, the sun is behind our broadcast booth, so it's not shining, because the most important thing is how we're doing up here.
And there's a little breeze coming through the windows.
There are some hardy souls sitting on that far side in the stands behind the Calgary bench. I wonder if they are, in fact, Rage fans, but they're facing the sun. Although they've got a nice umbrella up there. But I was saying before the game, it's sometimes hard to look down at the booth and get a good number on how many fans are here, because everyone comes and then sits high up in the stands in the shady parts on a day like this. But a pretty good turnout here today for this championship game, and the second straight year it's been here in Saskatoon.
Yeah, and I think everybody would be happy to have, sun and some heat rather than last year. It was still turned out okay, but we had a lot of rain and it was kind of chilly and not, the best playing football weather or the watching football weather. So I know we got a big downpour right before the game, and they were trying to squeegee off some of the sidelines to try and get the water out of the way. So.
Yeah. Saskatoon Valkyries would like to thank the following second down sponsorship partners for their contribution to the team this season: the Cave Restaurant, Man Farms, Wyant Group, and also the USask Rec program at the University of Saskatchewan, which is committed to being a leader in physical activity, sport, and recreation programming, providing the highest quality service and instruction to all participants. Find out more at rec.usask.ca. 1st and 10 Valkyries from the Calgary 53. Elfson out into the flat, and the pass is complete to Grace McCorriston as she takes it up the sideline for a Saskatoon first down. Gain about 15 yards on the play down to the Calgary 38. McCorriston ended up, she's obviously one of the better receivers for this team, but we talked about her taking over the kicking duties, which she ended up having to take over unexpectedly last year after an injury to Sam Matheson.
Yeah, Sam is a longtime player and has unfortunately been bit by the injury bug a couple seasons, and was one of those players that we could use in multiple ways. But Grace stepped up and was able to fill that position when we needed her to. And Drew Lundquist, whose name I just accidentally said, has also done some kicking duties for the Valkyries.
Absolutely. Lundquist handles the kickoffs for this team, and she had the last carry there for a gain of 3 yards on first down. So a 2nd and 7 from the Calgary 35. So we've seen Lundquist in there the last couple of series in the backfield for Saskatoon, as Sarah Wright's already scored a couple touchdowns in this game.
Majority of Valkyrie players who are on the sidelines at the moment, all under the tent, trying to get cooled down, from ice towels on them and stuff.
Need a bigger tent over there as a pass complete to Reed Thorstad. And she is wrapped up, but not before picking up a Saskatoon Valkyries first down. Gain of, call it about 8 on the play for Thorstad. We've got an injury to a Calgary player down on the far side. Let's see if we can find out who that is. They're on the back right now, so hard to make out the number. One of the tacklers on that play. It'll be first down at Saskatoon at the 27 of the Calgary Rage. And I've got a quick little break. Oh, I did all my second quarter sponsors already. I was going to go rattle off a couple more here, but
looks like the officials getting some water from the Rage training staff who came on to give water to their own players there. Good to keep the refs happy and hydrated as well.
So Calgary progressing from last year. They came up just short of making it to this game last year. Last year they had the crossover playoffs, so it was, as you touched on earlier, it was Manitoba Fearless who actually traveled to Calgary and ended up winning that semifinal before falling to the Valkyries in the championship game. But Calgary has been building up quite a program here over the last few years, and the roster grew by almost double compared to last year coming into this season. And I think they're pretty excited about the direction that this Rage program has headed, as the injured player, I believe that's Veronica Akowski, is now walking off the field.
Yeah, the Rage have done a good job this season, this previous offseason, in getting out and getting some more players to help grow their roster, and it's shown there. They've had a great season playing in the Western Conference and are obviously here in the WWCFL Final.
Well, they've drawn some players from the other two Alberta teams as well, as a handoff is taken for a gain of about 5-6 yards on first down for Saskatoon.
Yeah, that's one of the things about the WWCFL and some of our players is sometimes they move and they got to change teams when they go. So we've been able to, thankfully, most teams, players, when they get to move somewhere, they're moving somewhere where there's a team or they're close to somewhere where they're willing to drive. I know Saskatoon has some PA players who come down to Saskatoon in previous years. Regina's had some Yorkton players and from around there, and I'm sure other players, the teams in Alberta have had players coming from around small towns from the main cities.
Low pass on 2nd and 5, and Obed not able to pull that off her shoe tops, so that's going to bring up 3rd down. And now decision time for Pat Barry. Will he go for a first down, line up a field goal? And it looks like they're going to keep the offense out there.
Going for the gamble. This is a big play for the Calgary Rage defense. They've done a pretty solid job of shutting down the Valkyries here, so this could be a bit of a turning point here for them in this quarter.
3rd and 5. Gamble time for the Valks. Ailson with one in the backfield. Lundqvist faking the handoff. Ailson back to pass, and it's intercepted. Pass picked off on the play by Hannah Raymond.
I think that, Hallie picked it off?
Annie Raymond.
She picked it off, but I think some of the credit's got to go to the DB coverage in the deep backfield. I saw Alex looking to the back corner for kind of a flag and or a fly, and that player was very covered. I didn't catch the number of the Rage defender there, but then Alex had to check down to her second receiver, I guess, and the Rage were able to pick it off there.
And they basically wind up with the ball almost right where they would have got it if they'd forced a stop there as well, as she got a couple yards on the return, but either way, it's a turnover committed by the Valkyries, and first down now for Calgary from their own 21. Yep. Fumbled handoff, picked back up off the carpet, but the Valkyries taking advantage of that little stumble to get into the backfield and take down the ball carrier for a loss. Kendra Nash on the carry there. It's a loss of about 3 yards on the play.
Good heads-up play, though, by Kendra to pick the ball up and try and get some positive yards, because I think they would have lost a few more had she just fallen on the ball there. So.
But again, as you say, if you fall on the ball, play's over.
Yeah.
So if you're able to, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, though. Sometimes players want to keep that play alive to their detriment, and they try to scoop it up, and then they can't get the handle, and someone else comes through and takes it. Sometimes the best play is to just fall on it and make sure you stay in possession, but a good play that time by Nash to keep the play alive. And now on 2nd and long, Lindstein scrambling to her right, throwing it a bit of a prayer up, looking for an intended receiver there. I believe that was Claire Pratt down there, but incomplete, and that brings up 3rd and long.
And is that the quarterback who is down on the sideline over there?
That may be Lindstein down, on the far sideline. And she went down a little awkwardly as she stepped out of bounds. As yes, she is being looked at here, so we'll have to keep an eye on her. The way she is leading over there, I think she may have been winded on that play when she fell. Just taking my amateur medical degree, putting it to use here. But you see that a lot of time when a player's hunched over kind of like that on their knees, right? Trying to catch their breath. Yeah. So hopefully that's all it is for Lindstein.
Yeah.
And she's back up, and it looks like she is okay. Again, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on live stream. So a punting situation here for the Rage, and Goulard standing just outside her own 5-yard line, waiting for this snap. And the Rage unable to do anything with the turnover now. The snap too low. Goulard trying to kick it out the back of the end zone, and she will get it out there for a safety. Heads up play by Goulard, and at least this is going to minimize the damage and force the Valkyries to march down the field for their points. As we'll have a kickoff now, but 2 more on the board for Saskatoon makes the score 23-0 with about 6.5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah, that ball almost didn't get out there. It looked like it was taking a bit of an awkward bounce and going to curl in, but luckily it changed trajectory at the last moment there.
You can see Goulard continuing to chase it just in case it stopped short of the back line there.
Yeah, I got a chance to walk on this field earlier today, and it's quite, I mean, I don't know what the right word for it would be, but all the turf pellets and stuff are there kind of make it a bit softer and
it's
things
a
like
little
that.
spongy.
So, spongy, that's the word.
Yeah. Obviously, this is a home to the University of Saskatchewan Huskies, and we certainly thank the Huskies for the use of the facility today. It's a great place for a game. Of course, SMF Field also a great place for a game, but this is the big football stadium in town, and love having it for this, as we've got a good return here for Sarah Wright, keeping those legs moving all the way up to the 50-yard line on that kickoff following the safety touch.
Sarah able to, take a bit of a break while Drew took over some running duties the last few series, so it obviously looks like it's paid off here. Got some cloud coverage on the field right now, so I'm sure the players are happy for that.
First and 10 from, we'll call it the 51-yard line here of the Valkyries. 3 receivers right, 2 to the left. And Wright, the lone back. She's going to take the handoff from Elfson, but a good job on the tackle to take her down after just a gain of 1 yard.
Hard to see some of the Rage numbers, unfortunately.
I think that was Goulard who got the push through to get a hand on the ankle. So 2nd and 9 now for Saskatoon. Same formation. Thorstad on the waggle. The pass goes to McCorriston, and she's going to pick up a first down. Taken down at the Calgary 48-yard line.
Good open field tackle there.
By Kira Wabick, I believe, on the tackle there.
Kind of the textbook tackle coaches talk about defensively. Just wrap them up in open field and take them down at the knees.
Wabick making the transition from ice sports. She spent 9 years playing ice sports before switching to football full-time as her sport of choice. The pass into the left flat for Thorstad, and she is wrapped up after a gain of about 5. Call it 6 on the play for Thorstad. We'll bring up a second down here from the Calgary 42.5. 2 backs in the backfield now with both Lundqvist and, that's Obed with at the fullback position, leading the charge for Wright, who takes advantage of that lead block and picks up a first down for the Valkyries down to the Calgary 33. Make it to 32. Another good run by Wright.
Yeah, the Valkyries, however many years ago it was now that we were able to get Sarah Wright. Really benefited from her joining our team, and she's been able to work over the years with Sam Matheson, as you mentioned earlier, kind of a 1-2 punch on offense, and over the last few years has definitely become the featured back and is great at dragging people along and making the first person miss.
Yeah, tough to tackle in the open field for sure, and this time the handoff is faked to Wright, a pass coming out just out past the outstretched arm to Ricky Obed, who was coming across the middle there. Incomplete pass on 1st and 10, so a second down play upcoming here for Saskatoon. 2.5 minutes left in the second quarter.
Sometimes you just wish you could be a little bit taller as a receiver.
Sometimes
the quarterbacks probably wish that too.
I was going to say, I think there's a Biz Markie song that starts that way. I wish I was a little bit taller.
Please sing the rest of that.
Oh, I was going to say the Valkyries don't have to wish they were ballers though, because they're all ballers. Let's stop there. Second down, pass complete to Obed in the flat now as she scampers all the way up to 15, a first down. Valkyries stepping out actually at the 14. And this is the best drive of the game here for the Valkyries, the longest sustained possession they've had on offense. As they're looking to punch one more in here, at least one more before the end of this half.
What does that time say, 2:38?
2:28, I believe,
28.
on the clock. Yeah, so still lots of time here. 3 receivers left, 2 to the right. Elfson fakes the handoff, pass over the middle, but well covered. Lisa Gomez was down there all over Reed Thorstad in coverage, and the ball falls incomplete.
And a blitzing linebacker there. I couldn't quite see the number coming in to rush Alex Ilfson along a bit too.
That may have been Hannah Hatchie Raymond, number 20 for the Rail, or is that a 30 on that? Might have been Angelina Pilardi, I believe, actually, on with the pressure there. Another longtime member of this Rage team. So 2nd and 10 from the 14. Empty backfield. Elfson over the middle. Touchdown, Valkyries. Ricky Obed with the catch. She's got a couple of scores now here. And the Valkyries a point away from making it 30 here in the first half. It's funny because it doesn't feel like we've seen a 30-0 half here, Dinger,
no.
But
yeah, not a lot of big plays happening. Just, as we've obviously talked about a couple times, some of those turnovers making a big difference here and setting the Valkyries up in good field position multiple times.
Last couple scores, certainly they've had to really earn them, and a good drive there by the Valks. We've got a flag on the convert, and we'll just wait to see what the signal is here. It's a holding call again, or an illegal block against the Valkyries, so they will have to
move back and
move back this one, or do the Rage have the choice
kickoff
of applying this on the kickoff? We'll see here.
Oh, sounds like I'm hearing kickoff coming from the Valkyries sideline, so maybe they're going to do it on the kickoff. Nope.
Well, they called that on the Rage, pardon me. It looked like, I thought the official signal that was against the Valkyries, but
well, I thought they just did too, but
they've moved it up. So it was holding call on Calgary there.
Not quite sure how you get a holding call on a convert.
Although, wouldn't they just decline it? Anyways, they're going to kick it through, and we're doing our level best here, folks. We don't have the referees mic'd up like we do at some games where they announce those penalties. So we're trying to interpret some signals here from our position up in the booth. But either way, the convert is good, and the Valkyries lead the Calgary Rage now 30-0 with 2:20 to play in this opening half. So Calgary, if you're Calgary, Dinger, they're likely saying, hey, let's get something here before the half.
Yeah.
We got time. We can put a drive together. Even if it's a field goal, if we can get ourselves on the board.
Yeah, something just to break that ice, to get them going. And, it's always good to have that momentum going into halftime of being able to score. And, I mean, you've always said kind of in any sports you're in, but if one team is able to score this many points in this amount of time, then you theoretically are too. And football is one of those great sports where, things can change on a dime.
Absolutely. So here is the kickoff, and picked up by Tatrina Medvicek. Breaks the first wave of tacklers, and she'll take that up to the 50-yard line. So a good starting point here for Calgary as the offense comes back out on the field with 2 minutes and 15 seconds in the half. And the ball on their own 51-yard line after return by Medvicek, another longtime veteran of the Rage who also got a chance to be part of the Calgary Stampeders training camp as part of the Women in CFL mentorship program this season. And I know an experience that she was just raving about. She's also a CFL official and has been for about 3 years now. So someone who just lives and breathes football, Katrina Medvicek.
Yeah, and that's been one of the great things about the growth of women's football in obviously Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, as well as the rest of the country, is that there's all these other opportunities popping up, not just for playing, for coaching. The Valkyries have a few players who have turned to coaches. There's officiating, as you mentioned. There's getting coaching and other training situations with the CFL teams now, too, through their programs.
Loss of a couple on that first down running play. Brings up a 2nd and 12 for Calgary, who've had been able to make a few plays here on offense, but just haven't been able to string together a drive yet. The best they've been able to do was a couple first downs on a drive earlier in the second quarter, as Lindstein is going to look for the sticks along the near sideline. She'll be forced out of bounds short of first down yardage, but she got a pretty good chunk there, and I wonder if we're going to see a third down gamble here by Keith Crawford. And why not? You're down 30-0 late in the half. Yeah. I guess the danger is giving the Valkyries a short field with enough time to work, but still.
Yeah. Keith's got over 40 years, I think, of football experience, players, coach, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he's got a good kind of grasp of what they'll be able to try and accomplish here.
Yeah, wound up getting about 7 yards on that play, and now it does look like they are going to, that looks like the punt team coming on. That's not a short yardage crew, I don't think, coming out. So just a little bit too much here with a 3rd and 5. And again, I think that threat of the short field, if you don't convert it here and thinking at least we can keep Saskatoon off the scoreboard for the rest of the half, we'll call that a win going into halftime here. But you're right, Keith Crawford, not only coaching for a long time, but a former CFL player with Hamilton and Toronto. And I was chatting with him before the game, and he's quite proud about the direction this program's headed and the culture that they've built in this Rage program. And when you talk about all these players that have been around for a long time, that's a big piece of that culture.
Wonder if we'll see a fake here.
There's a couple of players split out wide either side. Nobody lined up on side for this kick, though, from Goulard, as she does get it away and played on a bounce by Obed. Picks that up and takes a big hit.
Lisa Gomez coming in to finish off the tackle there.
Nice play, Lisa Gomez, who one of the better two-way players on that Rage team. A pretty dangerous running back as well.
Yeah, a couple of Rage players playing both ways. I think I saw Chantel Vogel going both ways earlier in the game. Not easy going both ways. I did it a number of years for the Valkyries, and especially on these hot days.
Yeah, and especially in the trenches like you did there, Dinger. That's hard work on every play. Doesn't matter what the play is or how it ends. You're working your tail off. Elfson with the toss to the outside for McCorriston, and she is wrapped up for a short gain on the play, making the tackle there for Calgary. Maggie Rasteka. So she was injured earlier in the half, so good to see her back out there. Rasteka making the tackle and limiting McCorriston to just a 3-yard gain. So 2nd and 7 here for the Valkyries. 1:20 to play in the half. Elfson, nobody open on the left side. Scrambling out of the pocket, delivers, and McCorriston pulls it in. Tiptoeing the sideline. Beautiful catch by Grace McCorriston. Had to be aware of where that sideline was and got her hands out both on the ball and kept at least 1 foot in bounds. I think she kept them both in, to be honest. And
it's quite possible, yeah, just a little bit blocked by the Valkyries team there, but yeah, she came over, gave a celebratory chest bump to Valkyries lineman Betsy Maudsley.
Very nice play there on a broken play, a scramble drill there for the receiver. Now Elfson back to pass, a high arcing ball, but that's going to fall short of the intended receiver, Reed Thorstad. Bring up a 2nd and 10.
I'm honestly not sure if on that last play it said Betsy or Becky Maudsley, but it is Betsy, sorry.
It is Betsy Maudsley, yeah.
Got to give the O-line the right kind of love when you do acknowledge them on something.
Right, you are.
Unfortunately, you don't get enough time in football to acknowledge the O-line on either side of the ball, but without them, things wouldn't happen.
It is a thankless position. But this is offensive line central right here at Griffiths Stadium. We are at the heart of offensive line factory as that pass in and out of the hands of Hannah Pankratz, who was open on the far side. That'll bring up a 3rd and 10, and the Valkyries punt team onto the field. But yeah, Saskatchewan Huskies are known for producing professional caliber offensive linemen, and of course their head coach, Scott Flory, is in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. He wasn't too bad at that position himself.
Yeah, and Evan Johnson, who coaches with, or I'm sorry, not coaches with, plays with the Riders right now. He was a coach for the Valkyries for a few years, sharing his knowledge, and his wife Dallas played for the team as well.
So a rare punt, and this is a Valkyries punt sponsored by OK Tire. Back to get it away, and just getting it away there, McCorston, who could feel the rush coming, so just sent it a liner out. Picked up just inside the 40, and good downfield pursuit. Talk about going both ways. There's Sarah Wright. A couple of touchdowns, and now a big tackle on special teams.
Sarah Wright, I believe, is the long snapper for the Valkyries when she comes out. A not often talked about skill, but an important skill for any of the special teams.
And of course, Saskatoon home to longtime Rough Rider long snapper Jorgen Hoos. She's got some long snapper DNA in this field as well. A very unheralded, but a very specialty position. There's a special skill set involved with long snapping, and it takes a certain type of person to be able to do that.
Yeah. And so a trust level too, because you got to keep your head down and you put yourself in a bit of an awkward, vulnerable position.
1st and 10 Rage from their own 34-yard line. Lindstein, fire drill here. She's forced out of the pocket, scrambling, just trying to get it away. It's a good pass completed for about 9 yards on the play. Nice grab there.
9 yards
by
the
Reagan
sticks,
Smith.
Probably about 20, 25 yards of a pass there.
Absolutely. That ball had to travel a long way as Lindstein was well back, scrambling under pressure. And good job by Reagan Smith to give her a target and then a diving grab. So 2nd and 1 here for Calgary.
Rage kind of in a bit of a hurry-up offense a bit here, trying to get things moving and get something on the board before the end of halftime.
Lindstein rolling to her right, but taken down. A sack on the play for the Valkyries. Getting to the quarterback, Emery Halbgwaks, making the play in the backfield.
That's her 2nd sack of the game, I think. She's gotten there a couple times.
She's at least got a tackle for loss, I think, to go with that sack, if not 2 sacks. But once again, stepping up from that defensive end position to make the play, and a good job by the Valkyrie secondary there as well, as Lindstein, her number 1 option wasn't available that she was looking for on that pass play.
Yeah. Calgary trying to get some deep plays downfield to really move the ball before halftime finishes up here.
Yeah, just under 20 seconds. The clock is running here as the Rage now back to punt and looking to get this play clock all the way down before snapping the ball. Goulard, good job to field that off the bounce, and a good kick towards midfield. Returned by Thorstad, but that will be the final play of the opening half, and a half that, even though the Valkyries maybe didn't make a lot of big plays on offense, they took advantage of their opportunities on some turnovers and a couple of good drives as well, as they have a 30-0 lead after 30 minutes. Well, here in the house, there's going to be some flag football on the field at halftime. But we've also got a little bit of a feature on the Valkyries coming up here at halftime, as well as we will recognize some very important sponsors for the team. So please do stick around, as it is halftime here at Griffiths Stadium of the 2023 WWCFL Championship game. Valkyries leading the Rage 30-0.
Our first year we were having a practice at Griffiths Stadium, and we were finishing up practice, and there was a dad with his daughter there. And I remember him going over to his daughter and he said, you know, Daddy made a mistake and he wants to tell you, like, remember when I told you that only boys play football and I've never seen girls play football? Like, girls play football now and I didn't know that. And so that was kind of like the start of this big thing. And it's not now when I tell people, oh, I coach football or I played football, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard of the Valkyries or I know what that is. And it's not so surprising anymore. So I grew up around football, watching my brothers play and watching my husband play in the hilltops and things like that. And so I'd always loved football. And so I thought, I'll give this a try. So went out to a practice. Jeff Yowzy was our head coach at the time. And he had a bunch of like random football equipment in his truck. And I was standing around watching a practice and he was like, hey, do you want to play? And I was like, sure. And so he gave me equipment and that's how I started. I played offensive line. I've coached a little bit of offensive line and then I moved over to the other side of the ball and I've coached defensive line for several years now.
Ready, set, hit. Yeah, good. That's 3, right? Okay, so
I played flag football growing up and I loved the game. I loved the strategy of it. I loved the team aspect of it. And then it was actually Marcy Halseth, our offensive coordinator, that kind of convinced me to come out and try it. And it was like a lot at once. There was lots to learn, but I also I really loved that opportunity to learn a new sport. And some of those connections to flag, but also a lot more going on the field. And I love continuing to learn more about the game. I think that there's just such a strong team dynamic here between players, coaches, the organization itself. I also love that the drive that this team has, and I like being part of that. I do really think that everyone here is ready to work hard. They're ready to support each other.
Women's sport is something that is growing. There's no doubt about that. When it comes to club women's sports, we've been very fortunate, and we've set the bar pretty high for a club team. I know university teams and stuff like that have a higher profile in a lot of cases, but as a women's club team, we do quite well.
We've always been really strong with football in Saskatchewan, and that's translated over to the women's game. And again, I think a lot of that is because of the support we've gotten in the province. We've always been treated just like any other elite program, and we've kind of risen to that status because we've been treated that way. There's been a huge evolution since the beginning. I mean, our first few years we had a lot of fun, but we really didn't really know what we were doing when we first started. I think one of the things that have really set us apart is we've had such a strong coaching staff from the beginning that have really treated us like an elite football program. The level of player that we're starting to get coming in now, because of all the development we've had in Saskatoon specifically, I think. We've had a lot of growth in our flag programs. We're trying to get more tackle programs for girls going as well. And we have players coming in now that have played for 5 years before they get here, and they know different terms, they know how the game works, and you don't have to start from square one, and that's really where we were at in our first few years.
One of the best ways to kind of see the growth is the amount of girls that are wanting to play tackle football now and the different programs that are being built at that age. And I think that's been something that they've seen women playing. And then there's the opportunities to play at a younger and younger age now. And I think that's the influence of the WWCFL. And just the competitive level continues to get better and better.
Their football IQ is very high. And I'm someone who's coached for many years and coached high school and stuff. And some of our players on this team I've asked to help coach in high school because they're just excellent coaches, and people see that now, and I think it's something that's going to happen more and more.
We get someone on side and we're on purpose kicking it to the sidelines, we're going to recover that, okay?
I think that the Saskatoon Valkyries are more well-known and more respected, and people really understand the level of play that we are at within Saskatoon, which is really exciting to see. And I think the more that we're out in the community and representing that, and the more we're getting people out to our games, the more people get to see that, and they're not going to be as shocked to hear it.
My first sport when I first played was hockey. And I got told, girls don't play hockey. And then they did, and there's a lot of girls that play hockey now. And then I moved into wrestling, and girls weren't really wrestling that much at the time. And now there's a huge growth in women's wrestling. And I see the same thing happening in football now. And I think this club just has to continue to exist for, girls can see themselves growing up. My own daughter comes to our games and she's like, I want to do that someday. And I think that's really important to have everyone be exposed to women's football and see that we're really playing football out here, right? And we really know what we're doing.
Any opportunity that is given to women in sport and women to be competitive, And like be part of a team atmosphere like this is something really positive. It's really important to me. It's been a huge impact on my life, and I would love that to continue for women in the future and girls in the future as well. So I hope the league and the team continues to grow.
Welcome back. Hope you've got your refreshments, you got your bathroom break. We're almost set for second half action here from Griffiths Stadium in this 2023 WWCFL Championship game. It's been a lopsided affair so far. The Saskatoon Valkyries going for the three-peat and their 8th league title overall. They have a 30-0 lead over the Calgary Rage in this first ever matchup in the championship game. And Calgary in their second WWCFL Final, still looking for their first points in the championship game. They were shut out back in 2017 and certainly hoping to avoid a repeat of that outcome here this afternoon. And they will have the ball to start the second half. Ryan Flaherty and Jamie Lammerding alongside WWCFL president, 7-time WWCFL champion, and recently retired Valkyrie.
There you go. Good return for the Rage to start the second half here.
We'll tell you about a couple of stats here in that opening half for Calgary. Not a big surprise. They didn't really throw the ball very much in that first half. Quarterback Morgan Lindstein just 2 for 5 through the air for 11 yards with an interception. Running the ball, however, a little more success for Lindstein, the leading rusher as well for Calgary. 5 carries, 46 yards, including a 24-yarder. But again, the Rage looking to get some offensive traction here. They did have a few first downs in that first half. It wasn't there wasn't nothing, but they just weren't able to string together enough plays to put a drive together. Here's a pitch through the middle, Lisa Gomez, and she runs over one tackler before being taken down. Right, just shy of the first down sticks. And yeah, I think that Valkyrie, who tried to wrap her up, got the worst of that collision. Didn't catch the number. Caught the number of the truck. That was 8, but the...
And speaking of Lisa, I have just received a correction. It is Gomes, like Holmes, not Gomez.
Thank you. I apologize. We tried to check with the team on some of these, but sometimes these slip through the cracks a little bit. So apologies to the Gomes family. And I've got my little bio here. Apparently, Lisa, a Rubik's Cube specialist, so I might need some tips there. The injured Valkyrie on the play. Looks like that is number 87. Oh, pardon me. There is no 87 in green, so we'll just wait and see. Oh, pardon me. That's 83. Michaela LaRock, who is now up and walking off under her own steam. That was a big collision there as Gomes had some momentum going downhill. And a first down for the Rage resulting from that run by Gomes. Handoff. Coming to the right side. Rage running the ball there with the give to Reagan Smith, who's taken down after a gain of about 4, maybe 3. Call it 2nd and 7 here for Calgary. Just into the third quarter of play. Hope you're having a lovely Saturday afternoon, wherever you may be watching from. Second down now. Calgary. Lindstein in the shotgun.
Ooh.
Rolling out to her left. Looking downfield, and the pass is complete. A first down for Calgary on the completion to Aaron Walton.
Aaron getting in multiple positions today for different things. It looks like Jackie Seppel, who was coming in on the blitz for the Valkyries there, just got tripped up, which allowed the quarterback to complete the pass downfield. I think that might be the longest offensive play.
It's definitely the longest pass play for the Rage. Their longest in the first half was just 8 yards, so longest pass play and just the third completed pass actually this afternoon by Lindstein. We've seen a lot of run-heavy offense from Calgary, but that was a good-looking play. And trying to time the snap there, Emma Ray Dale thought she might have jumped on the play, but we have a fumble on the play and a turnover. Valkyries recovering the ball. I think they might have been fortunate to not be flagged on the snap. I thought Emerald Dale may have jumped, but she was able to get back on side before the ball was snapped. She tried to time that snap up, and a fumble will give Saskatoon the ball at their own 49-yard line. So what had started out as a good drive by Calgary ends abruptly with the turnover. And we saw that in the first quarter as well as they tried to string some plays together. That's what makes this sport so tough, right? You need multiple, generally speaking, you need several good plays in a row to get down the field. And the Rage have been able to get 1, 2, or 3 in a row, but really that's about it so far. And then the Valkyries defense has stepped up. We got multiple flags here on the snap. That was,
I wonder
timing was off on that play.
The Valkyries were trying a little trick play. It looked like Alex Ilfison attempted to pitch a ball that wasn't really there, so I'm not sure.
And it is a procedure call against Saskatoon. That'll move them back 5 yards. 1st and 15 now.
There's occasionally been some guard around plays in Valkyries history, so wouldn't put it past them.
Do you have a touchdown or two on your resume?
I have a touchdown in the bronze medal, the one and only WWCFL bronze medal game.
Tough snap there. Elfson had to go down to recover it, and as we discussed earlier, that is a dead ball once that happens. So the Valkyries going in the wrong direction here to start this drive. First the penalty, and now a bad snap will force them back another 5 yards. That'll make it 2nd and 20 now on the loss of 5.
Bronze medal game was actually that year that the Rage were last in the WWCFL Final. They decided, because we had to have a shortened season because of the World Championships that year, that we tried to add in a bronze medal game, and it was Saskatoon versus Edmonton in the bronze.
So you got a medal and a touchdown in the game.
Yeah.
Pass complete to the left side. Sarah Wright tackled from behind by Dakota Stewart. She's able to get just up over the original line of scrimmage, but not much further than that, and that will bring up a 3rd and about 8 for Saskatoon as the punt team comes onto the field.
Yeah, well done by Calgary Rage defense there. A turnover at midfield could have, spelled some points on the board for the Valkyries. They were able to shut them down, and hopefully they'll be able to get their offense back on the field in good position here, the punt return team.
We have seen one good return from Calgary this afternoon, and they could really use one here. Medvicek back along with Dakota Stewart to return this kick.
Bit of a bouncing snap there, but Grace McCorson able to get it off.
McCorson gets it down. Medvicek tracking back for it at her own 25, and Dale waiting for her. And Emery Dale pounces. No room for Tatrina Medvicek to return that punt. And that's tough. Once you let it fall to the turf like that, that's tough to get a lot of yardage if the cover team is doing its job, and it was there. And Calgary will be set up on their own 25 to start this drive.
Yeah. One thing Emery Dale has always been is speedy. So.
As they move, the chain gang strolls down to the end of the field to set up.
Looks like some discussion happening between the officials.
Yeah, this may.
Ridge. I'm not sure what's happening.
There may have been a penalty call there. I think they were maybe conferencing about new yards, perhaps, on that. There might be a re-kick here by the looks of things. It looks like the teams are going back to the original line of scrimmage.
Was there a flag? I didn't catch one.
I don't know if they're pointing at the scoreboard, so I don't know if the clock maybe didn't run on that play. I'm just guessing that may be the reason.
The Rage are getting the ball at the 50 here.
So it is a 10-yard penalty on the Valkyries, so they're going to re-kick. I think the Rage have elected to have the ball re-kicked here. Okay,
yeah,
no, now they're going to move it back
further.
10 yards.
Yeah, okay.
So I was going to say, that's where they scrimmaged before,
yeah.
So why would they move back unless it's a re-kick or to enforce off the return? So that's where we're at. So
something happened. We're not exactly sure what.
The Valkyries, though, to start this half, not exactly the start they wanted on offense, taking a couple penalties and
going backwards more than forwards, unfortunately.
This time McCorson's going to boot it to her right. And Medvicek had a little trouble scooping that up off the carpet, so she'll just fall. But still, a difference of about 22, 23 yards on the re-kick, as this time Calgary will be able to start this possession of their own 48 instead of their own 25. So that penalty proving to be more than 10 yards costly for the Valkyries. The Valkyries are proud to continue their partnership with the Saskatoon chapter of the Canadian Ovarian Cancer Society. They often volunteer for our game days, and we will be participating in the Walk of Hope on September 11th. Please consider joining the Valks in their walk to support these amazing ladies. 1st and 10 Rage. Faking the handoff is Lindstein rolling to her right, and the pass is picked off. And a return here for the Valkyries, taking it back down the sidelines and eventually forced out of bounds is Danny Girolami.
Wasn't able to quite tiptoe the sideline there.
She stepped out just in around the 35 as a big play there by the Valkyries defensive back. And the Valks now set up in great field position after a stutter start to this half. They're going to get a bit of a do-over here on offense and start with the ball at the, we'll call it the Calgary 34 on the interception by Girolami.
It's like the Valkyries are calling for something. Oh, some water. There's been a timeout. Timeout.
Well, it just gives me a chance to thank the following third down partners for their contributions to the Valkyries this season. They include Bookham Danos Accounting, Cypress Sales, Royal LePage, Mike Yerhoff with Realty Executives, Love My Mind, Great Western Brewing Company, and National Bank. So what are your what are some of your favorite championship game memories, Jamie? You've had a few, so I'm sure there's a lot to choose from, but
I mean,
what sticks out to you?
Last year was special, you know, going undefeated and winning the championship at home. Anytime we get to win at home in front of our own fans is great. I do have one memory with Becky Henniger, who plays for the Rage. It's probably not her favorite memory, but I read a fake field goal when she was playing with Lethbridge once very well, and unfortunately Becky paid the price. But it's one of the memories that sticks out in my head for playing. So.
First down pass from Alex Elfson falls incomplete. Elfson's numbers in the first half pretty solid from the Valkyries QB, 13 for 23 passing for 150 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So 2nd down and 10 now for the Valks. 3 receivers right, 2 to the left. Lundqvist in the backfield. Pass deep down the left sideline, caught by Reed Thorstad, down just outside the Calgary 10. Beautiful throw by Elfson to Thorstad. That's a familiar connection.
Yeah, those two have been playing Valkyries for a number of years, but even before that have been playing flag football, I believe, together. So, and I think are friends for a long time too. So.
And when your receiver is also your backup quarterback, she knows what how the playbook looks from both sides of that equation. And there was the hookup once again as it puts the Valkyries down just outside the goal to go. 1st and 10 now from the 11. The handoff is to Lundqvist. There's room over the left side. She's in. Touchdown, Valkyries. Drew Lundqvist finds pay dirt. And the Valkyries' lead is up to 36. Lundqvist getting on the board for the first time today. And the 3rd rushing touchdown of the afternoon for the Valks, after Sarah Wright had the first 2. Grace McCorriston for the convert, puts it through. That makes the score 37-0 in favor of the Valkyries with just over 5 minutes gone here in the 3rd quarter.
Rage will come out now and hopefully be able to turn a number of plays here in a row. They've had some good steam going, like you've mentioned, 1 or 2 plays in a row, and hopefully they can turn it into a few more and drive the ball down.
We knew Calgary coming in here knew they were certainly coming in the role of underdog, as anyone who faces the Valkyries in this championship game generally is, especially coming from Alberta. But you have seen some signs from this Calgary team, and it's great to see a full travel roster too, with a team that their players can can absorb the rigors of a game like this on a hot day like this, and nobody really forced to overextend themselves. So Calgary making progress here, but so far they've had a tough time finding their way towards the end zone. There's a return. Trying to get one going there was Bailey Kennedy. Not through the first tackler, but now taken down just right around the Calgary 35.
Bailey also one of those players who played for Team Canada last time around.
Again, mentioned she was with the Edmonton Storm last season when she was selected to that Canadian team. I think originally selected as a reserve, but she ended up playing, did she not?
Yeah, I think there was a couple injuries heading into the World Championships, because our season went up almost a couple weeks before people left, and unfortunately there were some injuries, so it led to some opportunities for players to get called up.
Next World Championship will be in 2022 or 26 rather, as a fumbled snap, and now a late hit is going to draw a couple of flags, as Lindstein was already down on that ball, and Grace Farthing came in and wasn't a violent hit, but was unnecessary, and that's going to draw a 15-yard penalty. And the Rage won't turn that down.
Yeah, piling on penalty I think she got, maybe. I wasn't 100% sure with the
Yeah, you
motions,
could call it roughing the passer or late hit or, piling on. But again, it's all about that safety. If you missed it earlier, Dinger did a good job of explaining it. When the ball is, someone falls on a loose ball like that, it is a dead play. So 1st and 10 now from the 45 are the Rage, but that play won't get started as the timing seemed to be off, and it is a procedure call against Calgary, so they give 5 of those yards right back after the roughing penalty.
So the penalty assisted first down becomes a penalty adjusted play.
So it'll be 1st and 15 now for Calgary. Rage now have a really good partnership with the Calgary Stampeders as well, and that has certainly benefited their program, being linked up with that CFL club.
Looks like a Rage player took a knee in their huddle there.
We'll have trainers out to attend to the downed Rage player. I always struggle with these teams that don't have an S at the end of the name and how to turn them into a singular. Because we all like our shorthand, right? A Valkyries player is a Valkyrie. So what is a Rager? Does it say a Rager? To me, that's just a really good house party. Although at my age, I haven't attended any of those in quite some time.
I don't know if I've ever attended an actual true Rager.
You know what? I think I threw one once, but
was it with your parents' knowledge? Not
that
your
house
parents'
is no
knowledge?
longer standing.
Yeah.
Not because of the party, because there's there's a condo there now. It was not at my parents' house.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, no, it was my first place I lived after I moved out of my parents' house.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was a good time. Didn't help that someone, one of the guests who was in a band who was playing earlier in the evening, announced the address on the stage at the show. So a bunch of ne'er-do-wells showed up on my doorstep. It's a good time. All right, we're back, ready to go here. Injured player off the field, and 1st and 15 for the Rage. It's an option toss to the right for Nash, and she will pick up about 5 yards on the play. Taken down on the tackle by Girolami, who had that interception here earlier in the 3rd. The only Girolami in this game is Haley Girolami, one of the, as Pat Barry, Valkyries head coach, calls her one of the best receivers in Canada, unavailable for Saskatoon today. She suffered a knee injury earlier this season. Sure, that's always tough when you're injured and you don't get to play in a game like this. But Danielle certainly carrying the family crest with pride today.
Oh, hard count.
And we have a time count here. Yeah. Timeout called by the Rage as they were running out of time to snap that ball. Trying to get the Valkyries, as you pointed out, Dinger, to bite on a hard count, but there was no biting happening. The teeth were not exposed.
It's always tough on D-line. Sometimes you get into a rhythm of, a team will go on the first hut all the time, and you get into the rhythm and you just go. But good job on the defensive line here from the Valkyries to hold their water and just watch the ball. A key thing spoken to on all D-lines, always watch the ball.
Yeah, go on the ball snap. Yeah, that's why they have my favorite device at a football practice is the ball on a stick.
The Valkyries just got one of those. I'm not sure if the defensive line coach Beth Thompson just created it or if her husband Chris Golbita had a hand in it, but it's like a shovel handle with a football impaled on the end.
I love it.
I've seen a lot of those different kind of sticks over the years.
There have been a lot of high-tech innovations in football over the years. We got the robot tackle dummies now to minimize concussion risk, but hey, sometimes the low-tech solutions are the best solutions. Football on a stick.
Yeah.
Not coming to a fairground near you as far as I could tell, but hey, who knows? You mentioned Beth Thompson, of course, another one of those longtime players who's now made the move to coaching and a two-time veteran of Team Canada as well. Now coaching the defensive line.
One time Team Canada as player, one time as coach.
That's right.
Yeah.
Lindstein taking the shotgun snap, rolling to her left. She's got a receiver open. It's Goulard. Goulard couldn't pull it in on the second down pass play. That will bring up 3rd and 10. Remember, the Rage gained 5 on first down, but that was on a 1st and 15. So the punt team out once again for Calgary. Goulard had a little bit of real estate there. She could have made that catch, but the ball just a little out in front of her there from the pass, on the pass from Lindstein.
I just saw Danae Helinsky run off the sideline or to the sidelines for the Valkyries, so it looks like she's back in action somewhat after being injured in the first half there, and I don't think she saw any downs in the first half really after getting injured on that one play.
Yeah, you're right. I was looking for her, and I saw her on the sideline, but hadn't spotted her on the field yet, so that's good news for her and for the Valkyries. As Goulard gets the boot away, fielded by Thorstad at her own 40. Trying to weave through some tacklers, and she'll get a pretty good return of about 11, 12 yards. That'll set Saskatoon up at their own 51. Call it an 11-yard return for Thorstad. 1st and 10 here for the Valkyries with about 6.5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. Calgary's defense has been their strength here today. We mentioned it, their Valks haven't really been able to break any big plays. The one was the touchdown to Obed for about 37 yards in the first half, but really it's been more of a methodical approach from this Valkyries offense.
Seems to be a bit of a pause here.
I think we've got they might be just checking the clock, and now they're set, play whistled in. First down here for the Valks.
Whoa.
And early movement that time at the line, and some ill will a little bit after the play as well, as Nash came, or was that Dakota Stewart came busting through trying to time the snap, but her alarm clock went off a little bit early, and that will be a conversation about what kind of penalty to call here. Is it off? They are going to call it a 15-yard unnecessary roughness, I think.
Oh, it looks like they're getting an offside and an unnecessary
Yeah,
roughness,
so 20 yards here, and that's because that's a vulnerable. The center has their head down there, and Stewart came again. It's not malicious intent there from Stewart. She's just trying to time the play and get into the backfield, do that Troy Polamalu play, but mistimed it, and a vulnerable center who's not expecting it, so that's an automatic 15 generally in that situation.
Yeah. Sometimes you can get that timing just right and it looks amazing and you're the lone person in the backfield, and sometimes it's just off.
So 1st and 10 now at the 39 of the Rage. And we're seeing Arden Cleaver now in there getting some reps at running back, and she'll take the pass out of the backfield and take it to the right side. Looking for the sticks there, coming up about a yard or two short of the first down, but this Valkyries getting a chance to show off some of their depth now here with this game in control, 37-0, and Arden Cleaver, who's pretty darn good goaltender as well. One of the sideline crew there having some problems. I was hoping he wasn't hurt because he took a tumble getting that ball off the field, and then I think got caught up in the chains on the far side or something.
Yeah. But Arden goaltender with the University of Regina Cougars women's hockey team, and last year played D-line for the Valkyries, and this year has made the transition over to running back receiver type.
Now Sarah Wright back in, and she takes it for a first down. Out just inside the 25. They'll spot that at about the 23-yard line of the Calgary Rage. Yes, Arden, of course, I had the pleasure of getting to know her when she was playing AAA hockey with the Saskatoon Stars, and certainly now the backbone of that Regina Cougars team in goal. But as we see so often in women's football, a lot of multi-sport athletes, and from all kinds of different sports too, not just one or two different sports, all kinds of sporting experience. As that pass from Elfson falls incomplete. That was intended for, I'm not sure actually out there. Was that? It was McCorriston out there. I thought I saw 22, and again, I don't have a 22 on my roster, so that gave me a little bit of pause. But it's Grace McCorriston, 82 in green, unable to make the catch.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, lots of players coming from different areas. I believe Erin Walton, who's playing for the Rage, and we've talked about before, has come from, she used to play basketball. And so lots of different sports that players come from. And football has a position really for everybody, no matter kind of your body type or what skill set you have, there's something for everyone. If you're not good at catching the ball, go play DB.
This time, Elfson able to complete the pass to McCorriston, who gets up near the first down yard marker. I think just a yard and a half short. So it's going to be a 3rd and short, and sounds like the Valkyries are going to attempt a field goal here, and might be a different decision if it was a close game, Dinger, with about a yard and a half to go, but I think chance here for Grace McCorriston to attempt a field goal, which they haven't done yet here today.
They attempted one, but it got
That's right,
blocked.
pardon me, it was blocked. Good, thank you for reminding me of that. That's right, so
maybe this is just that moment to get that field goal that they weren't able to snag earlier.
And it's going to be a 21-yard attempt for McCorriston from the right hash. And if you can't see those darker green hash marks, those are the amateur / U Sports hash marks on the outside as the field goal is up and through. McCorriston knocks it through to make it a 40-0 score for the Valkyries. They do have the CFL hash marks out there too, so that's why we had 2 sets of hash marks. Remember, they moved them inside a couple years ago in the CFL. So if you were looking and saying, why are they lining up outside the hash marks? No, there are green hash marks out there. Some of them aren't as visible as others.
Yes, I think I was being told earlier that when the Riders were here for their camp that they painted over the regular hash marks.
That's right. That's why you see those are a green color right now. They're starting to show through again. As Saskatchewan Rough Riders, for those who are not aware, often regularly hold their training camp up here in Saskatoon. So the field goal by McCorriston makes it a 40-0 game, as we're now in the final minute of the 3rd quarter. And if you're Calgary, I know, Dinger, you don't have a lot of experience being on sort of the wrong end of a score like this, but what do you suppose the conversation is like on that sideline at this stage in the game?
I think it's, we've had a couple Valkyries games where we've got down like that, and I think it's just, keep your head in the game. Things can always happen. Keep going. There's no reason to quit ever, because things can always change in football, and the team can get pumped up from any kind of play, so you want to try and be that person that helps your team turn things around.
and hopefully create, a couple of positive plays to take home with you in the memory bank too, right? Something that you can look back and be proud about. And I think this team has certainly played hard today.
Yeah.
This is a juggernaut program, and everyone knows when they come up to play Saskatoon that they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah. And as you know, we've mentioned it a couple times, those 2 special teams plays early in the first half, if those hadn't happened, there'd probably be 14 less points on the board here. So
we could be looking at a much different game. You're absolutely right. As the final play of the third quarter, it's a run for Lindstein as she gets around the corner, and now
flags after the
flag
play
after.
there.
This might have been a late hit by the blocker actually out there as the Valkyrie player wound up down on the ground on the far sideline. We'll wait for the play here, but Lindstein had already kind of run out of bounds, and she wasn't contacted late. So the officials will huddle up. We'll wait for the signal, but the Rage, looks like they're going to go. No, here we go. Here comes the signal. I think they might have sort of taken away this positive yardage. It's unnecessary roughness against Calgary. So as I wondered about that, the would-be tackler got thrown out of bounds after they were already out of bounds, and that's we'll call that an unforced error on the Rage. They looked like they were going to have a first down on that play.
Yeah, it sounded like the ref. Again, we don't have the microphones of the officials, so it's a bit hard to hear. But it sounded like they said yards, not games. So before the yards
was
were
before,
gained?
I guess, before the yards were gained, because they could enforce the penalty after the first down, and he had say after because they repeat the first down here, so it was a first down play regardless, but they will have an untimed play here because you can't end the quarter on a penalty. So before we switch ends, one last play here for the Rage. It's a handoff to Nash, cutting back inside and wrapped up at the 35-yard line. Pickup of roughly 5 yards on the play as they unpile. And this is a little slow to separate here. Hopefully nobody has got an injury at the bottom of that pile. Looks like everyone's able to get back up, and they will signal now the end to the third quarter as
I see the Valkyries offense coming on, so I wonder if that was it the third down and they just had the yard marker wrong?
Yeah, we'll have to double check here.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dinger, because you're right. The sideline marker had a number 1 on it for that down, but they might have missed the memo about the enforcement of that penalty as well. So anyway, we'll get to the quarter break here, and we'll know pretty quickly.
Well, looks like the Rage defense might be coming out
what's
now.
happening. So it does appear, though, that the Valkyries will be on offense, and so that must have been third down and a turnover on downs for Calgary. And again, we're trying our best to give you the most clear and decisive information up here, folks, but we're a largely volunteer crew.
Oh, nope, no.
And now, okay, so I think the Valkyries were confused about the situation there. This is a punting situation, and now third down. So that was a second down play, came up well short, and now we're at 3rd and 11 to start the fourth quarter. Jolene Goulard lined up to punt this ball away for Calgary. Get it? Got it? Good.
Yeah.
We're back. We're back. But again, we do really appreciate all the folks who have volunteered their time to help out, whether it's the ball people, the chain gangs, everyone that's, dealing with refreshments or, helping with the fans at the tickets, all that stuff. This is a community organization, and it takes a whole community to stage a game like this. And I know I shouldn't speak for you, Dinger. I'm not part of the team, but I think I can safely say that help and support is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, for the Valkyries and for any of the teams across the WWCFL, I don't think any of our teams would be able to function if we didn't have the volunteer support that we did across the league. And from boards to, like you said, game day people on the sidelines, people taking tickets, selling 50-50s, whatever it is, there's no job that's, I'm going to sound like Paw Patrol a little bit, but there's no job that's too small. And it's great to have volunteers to support with that.
So 1st and 10 from midfield. Here are the Valkyries. A handoff to the left side. And it's Drew Lundqvist with a gain of about 4.5 yards on the play. And of course, anytime you're in a game now at this stage with this score, the biggest thing you want is for everyone to leave healthy at the end of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you never want to see injuries at any point in a game, but especially in a lopsided game, it feels like they're less consequential. They're not, but
Yeah, and it looks like so far, I'm going to knock on the little bit of wood
Yeah.
that's here, that all players on both teams have been pretty healthy. So a couple injuries, but that's bound to happen every now and again in football.
another give to Lundqvist, and she fights hard and is able to pick up the first down for Saskatoon. Got just enough on the 6-yard gain.
Oh. And of course, just
now
as we
we've
talk
got
about
some.
injuries,
I don't believe in broadcaster jinxes, so that's just coincidental timing is what that is. But unfortunate, looks like that's Jenna Ray down for Calgary. First-year member of the Rage, who put an exclamation point first year, so she's obviously very excited to be part of this program now. And out of New Westminster, BC is her hometown. West Coaster, apparently, who has some pilot experience. Very cool. So, I know obviously this is the culmination of the season, Dinger, but the work never ends when you're on the league executive, as you are. And when you look into this offseason, what do you kind of see in your crystal ball? What are sort of, I guess, the priorities, or what do you think are going to be the talking points in the WWCFL head office?
we're going to have a board meeting in a couple weeks, so that'll be a representative from all teams, and hopefully we'll be able to kind of suss out a plan for next year and maybe some years going forward. These last couple years, I think, have been a bit about kind of recovering from that odd COVID break that we were forced to take because of restrictions. So we had 2 years off that obviously no one expected, but so we've been fortunate enough to come back and be able to do this, and now it's kind of a where we go from here. And some of it will probably be helping figuring out how to market the league a little bit more and recruit some more players for all the teams around the league, because you can never have too many players, I don't think.
Nope, absolutely. It's great to see the growth, and just the fact that you've been able to come back after the 2-year hiatus and keep this train rolling. It's an impressive accomplishment.
Yeah.
We were just talking about all the people that are required to just get this to happen, and there's a lot of extra overtime hours put in the evenings and on weekends, and to make sure that these ladies have a place to play. And I'm excited about what's to come here for the WWCFL.
Yeah, and coming back, of course, out of COVID, I mean, there was, as you said, the volunteers were important, but just the dedication of the players and the coaches to want to come back too. Because I mean, even in that first year of COVID, everybody was having trouble kind of finding a way to stay active and stay in shape, and people did the work they needed to do to get back out on the football field.
So 2nd down and 10 here for the Valks. Ailson forced back. It's a screen play, but incomplete, falling right through the hands of Drew Lundqvist, who had a lot of room to run if she had been able to make that catch, but instead it's 3rd down and a punt situation now for the Valkyries.
I have to say, a screen play, as a defensive player when I played, that was my favorite play that other teams would run, was a screen play.
Really?
'Cause I loved being able to find a way to pick it up. My first defensive play actually was an interception on a screen play.
There you go. Well, and as I'd imagine playing D-line, there aren't a lot of opportunities to really hit full gear on the run too.
No.
You really get to get in pursuit on a play like that.
I'm not sure I have a full gear that's really that full gear.
Hey, everyone's got a top gear. It's just how high is the top.
It's about mid-level or lower for some other people, my top gear usually.
Punt picked up by Kendra Nash, and she returns it out to the Calgary 30, where the Rage will scrimmage with 11 minutes and 20 seconds and counting here in the 4th quarter, as the Valkyries move closer to another title here, and second ever three-peat. Of course, they won 4 in a row, the very first 4 championships in the WWCFL, but then you kind of traded titles for a couple years with Regina, and
Those pesky Riot.
pesky Regina Riot, who really gave the Valkyries a real tough game last weekend in the Prairie Conference Final after Saskatoon won fairly handily in the first 2 meetings during the regular season. That play is going to go for well, I'll call it a loss of 1 maybe, or maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. They are going to spot that back at the 29, so.
Yeah, the Ride and the Valkyries probably over the 10, 11 years of WWCFL history have played about 30 games, I think. So there's been some close ones, there's been some blowouts on either side, but always good games when they come together. So.
But as we say, like, great to see a team like Calgary in this game because that is good for the whole league to get different teams getting a crack at the champs, right? A chance to win it.
Yeah, and last year was the Manitoba Fearless making their first appearance in the WWCFL Final.
Well, good stiff arm there from Nash as she got around the edge.
Some coaches on the Valkyrie sideline giving some cactus arms.
Michaela Sater on the receiving end of that from Nash, but she does come up about 5 yards short of the first down. And on the one hand, if you're Calgary, maybe you want to, throw everything at the wall here and play 3-down football, but at the same time, how much is that to be gained, I guess, in the fourth quarter is the question for Keith Crawford. And you want to give Saskatoon a short field if you aren't successful, so they will punt it away here.
Oh, that's a good kick.
Good boot over the heads of the returners as Goulard gets her best kick away today. Thorstad back, though, and able to elude the first would-be tackler who's still down on the turf. Must have turned something perhaps there awkwardly because there wasn't a lot of a collision there, but
might have extended a shoulder or something too sometimes when you get in that position.
Good return by Thorstad to break that initial tackle. It will be Valkyrie's ball at their own 47 as they attend to the injured player. Can't see the number down there.
As someone who retired with shoulder problems from a few extended arm tackles trying to catch running backs from all the different teams in the league.
So you're saying that may be a bit of a trigger for you?
Yeah.
It's ankles for me.
Oh.
Although I was never an athlete of any repute whatsoever. My soccer career did end because of bad ankles. And every time I see someone get an ankle injury, I just kind of cringe a little bit. Is the injured player back up and walking off the field? Just trying to get a quick look to see who that is. It might be Dakota Stewart down there. 1st and 10 for the Valkyries at their own 47. Ailson bobbled the snap, now has it, throws over the middle, caught. Short gain, tackled immediately by Tatrina Medvicek was Ricky Obed, who's hasn't been as involved here lately, but again, with a big lead here for the Valkyries, a chance for everyone on the depth chart to get some reps.
Yeah, that's a nice thing, when you do get lucky enough to get up by this much, you get to kind of run your bench a little bit and get everybody that experience of playing in kind of this big game, and that kind of has a trickle effect as the years go on. So.
Yeah, there's nothing that can't beat that in-game experience, and especially in big games, right? Big game experience is hard to come by unless you're lucky to be part of this Valkyries program, and then it comes around almost every year as Thorstad can't pull that one in, and probably kicking herself a little bit on that one. That was right there, but Thorstad unable to come up with it, and it'll be a punting situation once again for the Valks, and this will be another Valkyries punt sponsored by OK Tire. And we do want to, we did mention it earlier, but a big thank you once again to the University of Saskatchewan for renting this facility out to the Valkyries for today's game. We really appreciate that, and I haven't had a chance yet to give the big shout out to Husky Athletics, specifically Josh Schaefer, who is the man operating the camera that is providing you the pictures you can see here as Nash breaks a tackle on the return, so hold off on that. Nash up the sideline, finally run out of bounds by Sarah Wright, but a real good return there by Kendra Nash to get that ball to the Valkyrie side of the field. 7.5 minutes left in the quarter, but yes, thank you to Josh. When the Valkyries asked me if I could do this, I thought they were looking for a voice and a voice only. And then when I discovered, no, they were looking for someone to get a whole live stream up and running for them, I said, I have no idea how to do that. And the first person I turned to was Josh. And he said not only would he help out, he would, with gear, he would come here and basically run the show. So big shout out, Josh. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here, and thanks for making this happen. And thanks to Husky Athletics for their support by proxy.
Just a quick comment here in our live stream chat. The score should be appearing on your screen there, but it's 40-0 for the Valkyries at the moment. With about, can you see how much time it is?
Under 7 minutes to play in the half.
Under 7 minutes to go.
Lindstein running to her left. A good gain on first down. Pick up about 5, maybe 6 on the play. They spot it near the Saskatoon 45. I keep almost saying Saskatchewan. It's tough to go back and forth between teams that are Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. We have a lot of both around here. So
some teams that are based in one city and
that's
the
right.
whole province.
Well, of course, we've got the Saskatchewan Rush and Saskatchewan Rattlers, who both play out of Saskatoon and National Cross League and the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Toss play to Nash, who's wrapped up on the play. Danny Girolami with the good open field tackle, taking Nash down for a loss in the backfield. That'll bring up a 3rd and 11, and once again, just as you think Calgary's making some gains, the Valks defense stiffens, and Girolami, who has maybe been the defensive MVP today. I think there's a number of candidates, but said her names a number of times. She came up with that big interception here in the 3rd quarter as well, and she's made some key tackles. Fortunately, I'm not in charge of selecting those players of the game, so I'll leave that to somebody else. Snap fielded on a bounce by Goulard. Another good kick here as Obed fields it at her 26. And taken down at the Saskatoon 35-yard line.
Not really any wind in the stadium, but Goulard's been able to get some pretty good kicks these last couple.
She has booted a couple good ones in the 4th quarter here, and if there is any wind, it is at Calgary's back here in the 4th. But you're right, it's not that significant. It was windier earlier this week, but things have calmed down here for the weekend. First and 10 for the Valks. Ailson calls out the signals. And she's going to toss it to Lundqvist off the right side. Bounces off one tackler and then taken down by Medvicek. Just shy of the 45. They'll be just short of the first down yardage. Call it a gain of 9 on the play for Lundqvist, and another injured Rager down on the field.
I'm not sure Rager's going to stick.
Yeah, it's not going to stick. I thought I'd try it on just in the flow once, but nah. I regretted it as soon as it came out of my mouth. So, but you see my dilemma. It's with the rush is why it's always been an issue with in lacrosse. It's like and rush player, rage player is just a bit of a mouthful. But enough about my problems. Of course, big football day in Saskatchewan. Anytime the Rough Riders are playing as well, but it's a Sask v. Calgary kind of Saturday. The Riders are going to be playing the Stamps in Calgary later today. I don't know if anyone back in Calgary watching the stream is going to be heading out to that one. Try to defend their home turf, as it's always an invasion of Rider fans whenever the green and white play in Calgary. I heard someone reference it, said it kind of like what we're seeing out here today. They feel like it's a Christmas game because there's so much green in the stands, green and red there.
Yeah.
It's been green and red here today, too.
Yeah, the Valkyries getting some a new green jersey this year thanks to their sponsor, Cameco.
Yeah, they look so sharp.
Oh, looks like the Rage player is getting up there.
And that is Lisa Gomes. So, again, walking off on her own power, which is always something you like to see after a player stays down. So a 2nd and 1 here for the Valkyries, as we are down to about 4.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Play whistle back in. 3 receivers wide left. And now everyone coming into the line. Looks like a play.
This might be that guard around.
There was a play up the middle. Faked me out, that's for sure. And a big ovation for the ball carrier. That's Alyssa Funk, another Valkyries vet, getting her hands on the ball here in the 4th quarter.
Those are always fun as an O-line when your coach gives you the green light to have some fun.
And another Team Canada vet, 2-time member of Team Canada, Alyssa Funk, one of the anchors on that offensive line. That's enough for the first down.
Now a real pitch play.
Pitch outside to Lundqvist. Left side, caught around the ankles, still fighting for a couple extra yards, and finally goes down just shy of the midfield stripe. Ended up gaining about 8 yards, maybe 7 on the play.
Looks like there might be another Rage player down there.
This may be just the impact of the game as it's worn on here, and obviously that Rage defense has been out on the field a lot. And the attrition starting to mount, I think, for Calgary.
Sometimes it can be calf cramps too. I know on hot days like this, it can get you can get a bit dehydrated, and those things just pop up.
Well, just looking down this Calgary roster, and there's a fair bit of Saskatchewan content on the Valks as well. Of course, we talked about Chantal Vogel earlier. She's from Weyburn, and you got players from Yorkton, Melville, Moose Jaw. Good Sasky content. Kindersley.
Here, there, and everywhere.
But you mentioned it, of course, players, they come from all walks of life, and some of them go to university, and maybe that's what's brought them to the city where they're playing, or perhaps it's a job.
And the league doesn't have an age limit, so anybody who, you could have just come out your first time at 30-something and play for another 10 years, or come out if the league starts at age 16, so you can come start there and just go for as long as you want to.
Well, we mentioned Amira Harb, who's the youngest player in this game at 16 years old for Calgary, but we got to shout out Jose I'll get this last name right, Jose Schaumhart as well for the Rage. I know prior to the season she was approaching her 60th birthday. I don't know if she's actually reached that number since that happened, but either way, she's the oldest player on the team, and I could well be the oldest player in the league as well. I'm not 100% certain on that, but her son, Grant Potter, is actually the offensive line coach for the Rage. So she said when she's at practice, she's definitely listening to him because he's the expert, but she's still mom off the field. And coming from a karate and a powerlifting background, she's also a police officer, so she's got the physical fitness to be able to still perform at that age, which is just great. And unfortunately, looks to be a little more of a serious injury, as this player will be helped. This is Angelina Pilardi, I believe, number 30 for Calgary. So unfortunate to see that late in this game here as she's being carried off the field, and you hope, of course, that this is just precautionary, that it's not a major injury for Pilardi. It'll be 2nd and about 3 now for Saskatoon as the clock winds. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, right in the backfield. Elfson with the pass, and that is intercepted.
Nice catch.
Second pick of the afternoon for Calgary, Maggie Rosteka with the INT. Nice play there. She had to sort of go back across her body. She was running one direction. The pass came off over towards her back shoulder, and she was able to turn and pick it just before it hit the carpet.
Football's never done until that final whistle.
So Rosteka with the play gives Calgary the ball at their own 49-yard line. The play clock is winding here, but I think head official was checking it. Yeah, they're not going to reset it, so Calgary needs to get the snap off here. It's down to 3 seconds already.
Oh, they're just letting it go.
They're going to let it go, so it may have started early. I think the official on the field has the count going. Now Lindstein
going for
called the run here. She was rolling immediately on the snap, and she gets positive yardage up the far sideline. Call it a gain of about 5 to midfield before she was forced out of bounds. And you know Calgary would just desperately love to get something on the board here before the end. They were shut out in 2017, and they're on the brink of being shut out again here today. The points against are a little bit lower.
Yeah.
But you know they want to find something on the scoreboard here before the clock hits zeros, and it's down to about 1:20 remaining now. So I don't know if we'll see some trick plays maybe come out of the bag. Lindstein running for her life. Turning back towards the middle of the field. Gets away from the pressure, delivers a pass, and that is going to be a flag. Pass interference on the play. Sater, a little too tight on that coverage. Looked like it was intended for Nash out there. As the clock continues to run, so there must have been a decision and agreement made to run the clock here in the, at least in the fourth quarter. I didn't notice when they started doing that, when they stopping it after whistles, but we're into the final minute. The penalty is going to give Calgary a first down, and I think I'm going to have to say goodbye to Jamie because she's got some on-field duties here for the post game, as the president has to wear a couple of hats. So, Jamie, thanks so much for being here, and thanks for helping us out with this broadcast. Great to have someone with your experience here.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
All right. So, a short game there as Calgary will have a second down play, and this looks like it will be the final play of the game as Jamie heads back down to field level to help out with the championship trophy presentation, as it is coming up right away. The Valkyries dousing Pat Barry with the Gatorade bath on the sidelines in celebration. One final play here before it's official. Lindstein back, and she's going to air it out down the middle of the field, and that will be intercepted on the final play as the Saskatoon Valkyries, for the 8th time, are your Western Women's Canadian Football League champions. Final score, Valkyries take it 40-0 here at Griffiths Stadium, and the celebration is on. The second three-peat in Valkyries history, and the 8th championship of 11 here in the WWCFL. The Regina Riot still the only other team to win that trophy, but once again, it belongs to the Valks in 2023. They will keep it in their trophy case for another year. And hats off to the Calgary Rage. It is no easy task to come in here to Saskatoon and take on the Goliath of the WWCFL, but they acquitted themselves well here today, and they made the Valkyries earn that win and held Saskatoon to just 10 points in the second half. But really, it was that first quarter that made the difference here for the Valks, and a couple of special teams errors by the Rage gave Saskatoon short fields, and that gave them a chance to get their offense working and get a couple of early scores, and then they were able to settle into a rhythm as the teams shake hands at midfield. And a lot of players on both sides, of course, knowing each other well, and the sportsmanship on display post-game here. The coaches as well shaking hands, and they'll stay on the field for the trophy presentation. We'll stay with you for that. I am going to sign off here as I get down as well, maybe get some photos as well from the trophy presentation. But thank you so much for watching, and thanks to everyone for supporting WWCFL football again here in 2023. Whether you attended any games in person or just supporting players on the team or even positive comments on social media, it is all seen, it is all heard, it is all appreciated. This league is essentially a labor of love, and it has now been going strong for more than a decade and has survived a pandemic. So we're excited to see where things go in 2024. But once again, it will be the Valkyries at the top of the mountain heading into next season, and we'll see if anyone can knock them off next year. The Valkyries are your 2023 WWCFL champions. I'm Ryan Flaherty on behalf of everyone here in Saskatoon with the Valkyries and beyond. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully we'll catch you next season.
And we draw your attention to midfield, where former Calgary and WWCFL president Shady Andrew will present the championship trophy to the team that wins the championship this year. And that team is the Saskatoon Valkyries. Yes, congratulations to both teams. Congratulations to the Calgary Rage on their great season and the hard-fought battle here today. And we have the microphone, please have the microphone to say for both teams. And she's presenting an MVP trophy to Calgary Rage player Morgan Lindstein, quarterback, who had a great day today. It was definitely a really important game for the team. And 88, Sarah White, who's been the workhorse of the Valkyries running game. Two early touchdowns here today. The Valkyries MVP, Sarah White. And the MVP prizes are donated by Causeway Natural Health in Humboldt and Saskatchewan Lottery. So we're thankful for that and all of the other sponsors who make this program, women's football, successful. And we're happy to have a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in ceremonial red serge jacket to present the trophy and participate in the awards presentation. He's delivering the trophy, and we'll assemble all the crowd so that everybody's favorite sports Chris can capture this image. The Valkyries have not lost a football game since the 2018 season when they lost the WWCFL championship to the Regina Riot. So again, ladies, congratulations, and organizers and coaching staff, and everybody else who helps the Valkyries. Thank you so much for creating this wonderful program. And folks in the stands and supporters, we thank you very much for coming out and supporting the program throughout the season and for today's championship game. We wish you a safe ride home. And it's not too far, but 31 minutes till it kicks off into the Ryder game. So thanks again very much, everybody, and we hope to see everybody back for a fantastic CFL season in 2024.